Hello, my name is David Webb and this is a video for Dweebovision. I am a Scrabble grandmaster and in this video I am going to play Scrabble while providing in-game commentary on my moves. Hopefully this will help to improve your game and be fun to watch. The game has just started, so let's join the action. It's me to go first. I've got a nice rack which looks close to a bingo, but do I have a bingo? I've got Pukia as a 6-letter word, which is going to score reasonably well. And if there were a D on the board, I'd have Spruict or Prusict, which are both very nice words. But I can't see a 7. Let's see how much Pukia scores. It would have been nice to have played off just the PUK and keep EIRS because that's a particularly good leave. But I can't see a shorter word than Pukia. Well, that's 30 points, which is not bad. And I keep the S, which is a good tile to have. Well, I feel slightly uneasy about providing so many floaters to my opponent. Ordinarily, I would prefer a shorter word. But I certainly want to play off the K and the U. So I think Pukia is the best move available. Right, and this looks nice. If my opponent doesn't block it, I've got danseurs or danseurs down from A8. But what else do I have? Unpassed, possibly, but I'm not sure on that. It's difficult to be certain on words beginning with UN because so many of them sound plausible. Right, a 7-letter word I can see is sundaes, as in the ice cream dessert. But I'm not sure there's anywhere where that actually plays at the moment. But if my opponent blocks danseurs or dancers, he may create an opening for sundaes. I'm just looking to see if I can see any other 8s through the floaters of Pukia. Right, well that's a great start for my opponent, semi-wild. I don't think he has provided any opportunities for sundaes, and he has blocked danseurs, which is slightly irksome. So, do I have anything through the new floaters that are available? Nothing is springing out at me. I don't feel that good about unpassed. Gosh, is there something here? It would be annoying to miss it if there is a word available. Well, I can't see a bingo, so I am going to have to start looking at alternatives. Or, what about Medusans? I think Medusans might be good. I know for sure that Medusan is good. It's just a question of whether it takes an S on the end. And I think it does. Medusans. Right, I'm fairly sure of this. Certainly a lot more confident of this than I was of Unpassed. Yeah, let's see if it stays on the board. If it does, I've drawn the Q and the X. And there is the U of Pukia, which is available. So I could play a move like Talk, or Quota, or Roquette, perhaps. Croquet, I've got Croquet. Great, my opponent plays away from the U. He scores only 24 points, so leaving that S underneath the triple word square has not been punished as much as it could have been. I noticed that my opponent did not challenge Medusans, so I don't know for sure if it's a valid word, but I think it is. Alright, let's put Croquet down and then see if there's anything better. Croquet scores 36 points, which is good. I keep the X, which is good. I also set up a really good hotspot for the X at F6, the triple letter square, next to the O of Croquet. So if I draw an E and that space isn't blocked, I've got X, Ox and Re for 50 points. So I like the look of Croquet. I can't think of any plays which use the X and the Q that are available. Right, I think I'm going to play this because it looks good. The only downside of the move is that the double word square at K5 immediately under Croquet would allow a pretty hefty reply should my opponent have an S. But that's unlikely given that 3 S's have already been played. I draw 3 T's and 2 A's, which isn't good. And I don't draw an E, so I don't have that X, Ox 50-point play that looked so attractive. Ordinarily I would be looking to play the X off, but I'm mindful of the triplicate T. So that will temper what I do. If an E were to be available, I could play extant, and extant is the sort of play that I'd like to play because it resolves the triplicate T and the duplicate A, and it uses the X. So that is almost like an ideal play with this particular rack. But there isn't an E available at the moment, so I'm going to have to look for something else. It would be nice to use the triple letter square to the right of the O in Croquet. just with a move in row F, but I can't see one which uses a T. Okay, my opponent plays chinned it. He's placed the I underneath a double letter square, and XI is a word. But I can't take advantage of that. I do have tax for 24 points. It doesn't feel like the best move. Now tax takes an I and an A after it, so I have opened up an opportunity for plays in column 14, but that's not so bad because I have an A. So if my opponent doesn't take advantage of it immediately, I have first dibs on it. 24 points doesn't seem like the best I can do with this rack, but I'm struggling to find a better move. Well, having said that, that's 26 points, so I've just improved it by 2, and I've reduced the utility of the A and I hook on the end of tax. So that's a definite improvement. But is it the best I can do? I can't see anything better, so I'm going to play it. Right, that's okay. I haven't been punished by retaining the duplicate T. I haven't drawn a third T. And this looks fairly close to a bingo. But is it close enough? Yes, it is. Battened. Excellent. I'm not praising myself, I'm just rejoicing in the fact that I do have a bingo. 'Cause it's a good feeling. Batten 76, good score. The B on N1 isn't too dangerous in terms of the triple lane in column 1. I'm not going to spend time looking for a better move because looking at the board I don't think there is likely to be one, and if there is a better move it will only be better by a small margin. And I draw a blank, the first of the 2 blanks, which is encouraging. I'm about 100 points ahead. It would be nice to maintain this lead. If my opponent gets a bingo now, he's only going to be 20 or 30 points behind. But it would be nice if this blank on my rack can be used to create a bingo before my opponent gets one down himself. So, do I have one? The H that I have goes nicely with the C of croquet. And there's the R of croquet. And there's the A of aviates. And the A of battened. But 4 vowels, including 2 O's, reduces the likelihood of there being a bingo, and I'm struggling to see one. I do have a G and an I, so ing words are possibilities. if I don't find a bingo, I should be able to score reasonably well. For example, I have hobo at L1 for 39 points, which would be pretty good. That would give me a leave of EGI blank, which isn't too bad. Wow, my opponent must have been struggling. He's played off 2 U's to make the word U2 for only 5 points. Let's put hobo down and then see if we can see anything better. Well, another alternative in the same place is oho, but that scores 2 points less. I quite like playing the H on L1 because it opens another bingo lane in column 2, and the reason why I'd like the board to be open with as many bingo lanes as possible is because I have a blank. So whenever you have a blank, you're likely to be fairly close to a bingo. It's certainly annoying to have a bingo and not be able to play it. Right, is there anything better than hobo? I don't think so. That's great. I draw the Z and I can see immediately that I've got grizzle and HE, so grizzle in column 2. But do I have a bingo elsewhere? I don't have anything through the C of croquet. The R of croquet. I think grizzler's good, but it doesn't go down. Doesn't quite fit in. Well, if my opponent does use the spot where I want to play grizzle, he may open up another place where it can go. The most likely bingo is through the first A of aviates. But is there one there? Quite a number of words end IZE, like regulise, but I can't see any that go on this board. Certainly the location of the A in aviates means that I don't have an IZE word that goes through that A. But it's tantalising. I feel that there may be something through that A. Glaziers doesn't quite fit. I'm just mentally going through the alphabet for the blank and imagining that I have the A on my rack, and I'm not seeing anything. No letters go in front of aviates to make an 8-letter word. So in terms of 7-letter words, there's grizzle, which does play at the moment, and there's glazier, which doesn't play. I can't see any other 7s. And if my opponent makes an E available, I would have regulise. So those are my options. My opponent is taking a while to make his or her move. So maybe they are close to a bingo. There's 29 tiles in the bag, there's 7 on my opponent's rack, and I've got over 9 minutes left, so I'm not in any time trouble. In fact, my opponent has used almost as much time as I have, which is quite unusual in this series of videos. I'm now 130 points in the lead, which is good, so even if my opponent gets a bingo, he's still going to be trailing. I'm now looking for opportunities in the event that I don't have a bingo. I do have Zig through the Eye of Aviates. My opponent has blocked the place where I could have played Grizzle, and the only floater he's offered is a G. I don't think I can use that. An ing word would use the blank as an N. Yes, there isn't an ing bingo with my rack. Well, the two possibilities I've seen as non-bingo plays, there's Zig for 26, but there's also Blows for 35. I prefer Glows. Whenever one move scores significantly more than another, there's got to be a very good reason not to play it, or a good enough reason not to play it. And the better rack leave from Zig isn't enough to compensate for the loss of points. Is there anything better than Glows? Well, I can't see it, if there is, so I'm playing it. And that is a great pickup. It looks like there should be something through the C, and there's Lonnie Sarah, Lonicera, which is good, and it's not blocked. Great. Let's put that down and then consider if it's optimal. Lonnie Sarah, 72 points. Okay, it does have anagrams. The danger of Lonnie Sarah, and the reason I'm not making the move immediately, is the L. The L on D1 is dangerous because my opponent could get a bingo running from A1 down to H1, possibly scoring 140, 150 points. So it would be nice to avoid giving him that possibility. It's unlikely, but why give somebody an unlikely possibility instead of no possibility? So is there something better than Lonnie Sarah? Anagrams of Lonnie Sarah. There's acrolean. That doesn't fit. I think there's a third anagram. Creolean. That doesn't fit. And collinear. That doesn't fit. Lonnie Sarah is the only bingo through the C using the blank as an N. but I don't have to use the blank as an N. Gosh, do I play this or do I spend time trying to find a better bingo? I think I will play it, because even if my opponent does get that unlikely 9 timer, it will only draw him level, it won't give him the lead. And I draw extremely well. I draw the J with, it's a balanced rack, 4 consonants and 3 vowels, and the J is a high scoring letter. So I have Jowly at A1 through the L of Lonnie Sarah, if my opponent doesn't take that spot. Also through the A of Aviates, I've got Jaw or J. And I'm 170 points in the lead. So my opponent's only chance of winning this game is a 9 timer. That is a bingo running from A1 down to H1, because if he doesn't take that spot now, Jowly is going down. Okay, he scores 39 points, but that's fine. He hasn't got the 9 timer. He's still over 130 points behind. So my attention now turns to doing the best I can with the J. There's no need to hang on to it. There are 4 tiles in the bag, 7 on my opponent's rack. So with 4 tiles in the bag, it would be nice to play off precisely 3 of them to leave 1 in the bag. Because if my opponent bingos, the game doesn't end, he has to draw the tile, so I get the opportunity of making 1 final play. Having said that, there are very few bingo lanes on this board. So the move I'm looking at is, well, Jaw or J. The G and the W don't go together, well, thinking that they don't go together too well. Actually, in terms of short words, they're not that bad, because, well, there's wig and wag and similar words. So Jaw scores 26 points. The game is won, which is good. But it's good practice to try and play optimally. Jaw does take out a remote bingo lane in row C. It doesn't provide any openings for my opponent. Unfortunately, it only plays off 2 tiles rather than 3, and my rack leave isn't great. I think I'm going to play it. Okay, well, that was probably a mistake by me. If I'd looked at the remaining tiles, which are displayed at the bottom of the screen, I would have seen that there's another Y out there, and J would have been a better play than Jaw. But it's not a disaster at all. Sometimes you make plays and they are disasters. But the time for recriminations is after the game, not during it. We need to focus on our current rack. Yo-yo isn't good, I don't think. It would be nice to play out in 2 with this rack, because with 2 tiles in the bag, I'm expecting my opponent, well, he may play off just one tile to try and open a bingo lane, but if he plays off two, then these are the only tiles I will have. But going out in two looks tricky. Okay, my opponent has played turn at K11, down from the T of tax. He hasn't opened a bingo lane, even though he's got quite a good rack, including the blank. He's got fibrate, but nowhere to play it. So what can I do with my Ys? I need to be careful that I don't open a bingo lane. Not that my opponent would win, but one tries to win by the biggest margin. Gosh, this is quite tricky. Sometimes when you've won the game, it's difficult to really focus on maximising your spread. But one should. Gooey is a nice word, G-O-O-E-Y. I don't think it goes anywhere. Well, I have yoga down from A8, but I don't want to provide opportunities for my opponent. I'm sure this isn't the best. 15 points, that's really quite pathetic. There must be something better than that. Well, I keep YOG for yoga next turn, and then I'd have an I and an E, which I can probably play if the game's still going on. But YO for only 15 points is not good. But I'm running out of time to find a better play. I'm sure there are plenty. Well, I think yoga is my play for next go if it's not blocked. 24 points. And it's blocked. Foy is a nice word, and I am just noticed actually I'm very short of time, so let's get this down. I've got GIE. My opponent's going to go out though, he's only got BI and blank, so there are multiple opportunities for him to go out. I expect he'll be disappointed that he didn't get to play his blank. He's got 5 minutes on his clock, so he may be spending a bit of time trying to find the best possible outplay. What would I do if I had his rack? BI blank. Gosh, it's not easy. He's got OB on top of the W of jaw. That's only 12 points. I'm sure he can do better than that. Right, he's played... Oh, gosh. He hasn't actually played off all his tiles. How annoying. Ah. I wasn't expecting that. Gosh. I should have given thought to an outplay of my own instead of looking for one for him. Well, that's a lesson for me. Gosh, that is really annoying. Why wouldn't he go out? Maybe he couldn't see an outplay, but I'm sure there were several. Well, he had ribs from the R of Tur. And he's left himself an I. Well, he's certainly not stuck with the I. He can play taxi. Or it through the T of aviates. But I need to listen out for when he does play, because I've only got 3 seconds and my clock only stops ticking when I click the pass button at the bottom of the screen, which indicates that I accept his move. And I am going to accept his move. So what should I have done when I had GIE? Maybe there wasn't an outplay. But if there wasn't, there was certainly something better than GAN. For example, there was GI through the I of aviates for 6 points. Well, he's spending a very long time deciding what to do with his I. And I think it is an I rather than an L. What do I do if he passes? I play Aya through the R of Tyr. But I'm going to have to move quickly to do that. And I've got SEI through the S of semi-wild, which is actually quicker to get to. Oh, he's gone out. Pass. Right. Okay, well my clock went down to 0, so I don't think I get a time penalty. If it had gone down to -1 second, I would have done. Let me just thank my opponent for the game. Oh, charming. Okay, not quite sure what I did to earn a place on my opponent's no play list, but it looks like we won't be seeing him again as an opponent in this video series. I hope you enjoyed that game. I think there were several interesting spots. There were certainly some learning points for me towards the end of that game. It was a fun game. It was high scoring and I got to play all my bingos, so that's one of the reasons I play Scrabble, for fun games like this. I hope you enjoyed watching the video. My name is David Webb and this has been a video for Dweebovision.